Hello and welcome to Ditch Witch Diaries. You're back again with Raven and Rebecca, and we are here to present two more herbs that work towards protection. They're in our series about getting the ick out, and we've gone through banishing, cleansing, and now we're at protection. So the next two herbs. Raven is going to start us off. Go ahead, Raven.
So continuing on, we're gonna do cramp bark today.
I love that.
I know, look at I like how the berries aren't like totally red yet. They're kind of like two-tone. Okay. So, Viburnum opulus. So lots of names relating to cranberry too, because the was very cranberry. So we have the Guelder rose, we have European cranberry bush, high bush cranberry, snowball tree or snowball bush, water elder, whiten tree, squaw bush, pimbina, king's crown, May rose, and cranberry tree. The parts used are mostly like the bark and the inner stems, but you can use a lot of it, especially for like medicinal properties. We're going to use the bark and the stems, but berries and fruits are used as like food sources. We'll talk about that later. And for like promoting kidney function, anti-tumor agent, in animal studies. Raw berries can cause digestive upset though, so you do have to be mindful about that. We'll talk about that when we get into the medicinal properties, but they have been used for food. And then leaves are like emenic and purgative, anti-scorbutic. So lots of vitamin C, right? Anti-scorbutic. Um, so you can use it just bunch of different parts of the plant. It just depends on like, are you going for medicinal? Are you going for magical? What are you using it for? So correspondences, we have the element fire and water, and we'll talk about more about that later. Planet Venus and Saturn, chakra, really the like sacral chakra, because it's highly associated with like femininity and like menstrual cycles, things like that. Sign is Libra and Pisces. Deities, I didn't really find any specifics, but mostly like elder crone energy, right? Like crone or like elder mother, I guess a little bit too, but kind of shifting. And then crystals associated are like carnelian, red jasper, that like red flowy energy. And then colors are red, obviously, and then deep crimson. So let's go on to the lore. So this is a big plant in Ukrainian culture and like general Slavic culture. So Ukrainian culture, the plant is called Kalyna. I think I looked it up. Kai, yeah, Kalyna, I think. And it appears, I need to keep moving my video. There we go. It appears in a lot of songs, a lot of embroidery, poetry, and like folk art as a symbol of homeland, family roots, blood lineage, beauty, and maidenhood. So it appears a lot. And according to a legend, the Kalyna was associated with the birth of the universe and what they call the Fire Trinity, which is like the sun, the moon, and the star.
Mhm.
And the red berries symbolize blood, meaning like health, but also like fiery energy, native land, and like family. And then the berries are linked to the sun and blood, and the plant itself is shown, or it's like used in a lot of wedding ceremonies and songs. And then also, there's a folk song that I'm gonna try to play for you, but these are the lyrics if I can't get the video to like share my audio. But there's a song that's basically like centered around this plant. Can you hear it?
Mhm.
Okay. So I found a video specifically that had the English translation so that we can kind of see it, but it's pretty red.
Nice.
Чогось наша славна Україна зажурилася. So it just keeps like going like that. It just repeats, but it's pretty cool. This is obviously the cramp arc that we're talking about, but it talks
Yeah.
about how like it's when it's like bent over, then Ukraine is like saddened or there's something like bringing it down, and then when it comes back up, then like Ukraine is supposed to be doing like better and happier. So that's pretty cool. It's like heavily associated with like Ukrainian culture and stuff. And then we also have some like Russian associations with it. So it's considered the national symbol for Russia as well. And the words kalit and raskalat, I guess, means to make red. So like the meaning of the word is basically like to make red hot. And so it talks about like fiery, which is associated with like passion, maiden love, beauty, but also like very fiery energy.
Mm.
And then we also have, this is, I already talked about this a little bit, but the Fire Trinity. So places the plant at the cosmic origin of the world, linking it to solar, lunar, and stellar energies, so which is our sun, moon, and star. And then also because the plant grows out in like damp lowlands,
Hmm.
it's associated with like liminal spaces and liminal qualities because it's like the borderline of the water and the land, and like it grows in between seasons and things like that. So we see because it's associated with like liminal spaces, we also see that connection to the maiden, mother, and crone.
Nice.
And then among a lot of like natives have a history of using this, especially the Iroquois, which use the bark for prolapsed uteruses after childbirth. And then there the I always
Penobscot?
forget.
I don't know how you say it.
Yeah,
Penobscot?
it's SC. You pronounce like SCIT. It's like skit.
Skit?
Penobscot, I think. Use the bark for like swollen lymphs and lymph glands and gout. And then, so then we have some medicinal properties, which we talked about a little bit in the beginning, but antispasmodic, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, nervine, and relaxant. Berries do have a bit of a purgative quality if it's eaten in really large amounts. So like smaller amounts is fine, but if you're eating like by the handfuls, be
Mhm.
mindful. So the number one medicinal use for this is for dysmenorrhea, which is like really painful menstrual cramps. Um, and so because it's a like antispasmodic and a relaxant, it helps with the uterine contractions. And so it's really good for relieving your menstrual cramps because it stops like the squeezing of the uterus, which causes the cramping.
Hence
But we can
cramp
also,
arc.
yeah, cramp, exactly. So then we can also, there's other uses for it as well, but it generally revolves around similar qualities. So like general muscle spasms, right? Not just with menstruation, but like even skeletal muscle tension, leg cramps, lower back pain, any type of like muscle spasms or like tight muscles, it's going to be beneficial. And it can be taken internally as like a tincture or an infusion or a decoction, and it can also be applied topically. And then we also have like again with spasms, but gastrointestinal spasms. So it can be used for things like irritable bowel syndrome, colic, and also helping the passage of like kidney stones and gallstones. And then for pregnancy and childbirth, so to prevent miscarriage, because you're like stopping the squeezing of the uterus, which is, well, in part, which is gonna, if you have contractions too soon, that can be problematic. And so you're like stopping the contractions or slowing them down. And what else? Also regulating contractions. It's helpful for that. And postpartum, you can use it to help the uterus kind of return to its like normal shape after the stretching of the pregnancy.
Your favorite.
Ah, yes, yay.
I was telling these girls that have never had kids how like children having a child destroys your body. I'm
Oh,
like everybody
yeah.
should have the right to choose one way or the other because let me tell you, it's like a parasite that gets in there and then like changes everything.
It even changes like how you pee after. Like it changes
Changes everything.
everything. Yeah,
Exactly.
crazy. No, thank you.
I love that. I've got a lot of friends who've made that choice. Smart
Uh,
choice.
yeah. Mm. Um, so other uses, nervous system, because it's a nervine, so it can help kind of calm things down, especially like anxiety and stress. Respiratory issues, because it's antispasmodic, so it can help relieve like spasmodic coughing. Good for high blood pressure. And antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, because it contains a lot of compounds that are like antioxidants. So it's good for just like cellular growth. So then we have some magical stuff. So in British folklore, the bright red berries were used in protective charms and amulets believed to ward off things like evil spirits or misfortune. So we do start to see some like magical protective qualities here. Also, bark and berries are used in like jars, mojo bags, amulets for protection, all of this kind of stuff. So protection, really good for protection, but in a very like feminine way. I feel like it's not like it's like protecting your like hearth, your home, your family, like blood or not, right? It's protecting like your home space in a very like protective, fierce, feminine way. That's kind of how I see it because this is truly like I mean, I like to think of most herbs as and plants as like feminine,
Me
but
too. I think of them all.
it's
So
yeah, but it's like specifically used and has throughout history been specifically used for like female physical ailments. And so it's like very soothing by like getting rid of or slowing down or pushing away the things that are causing like the female body pain. And so I see it in like this type of protective, like mama bear type of way. Um, so then I just give you some like suggestions. You can use them in like a charm or on your altar or anything like that where you are trying to do that, right? You're like wanting to bring in this like feminine protection, divine feminine protection for like yourself or your home or whatever. And then also some places talked about it for like releasing. And so which I can a little bit because you're like getting rid of something that is causing you harm. Um, but they talk about like releasing stuck energy, stuck tension, things like that.
nice.
Yeah, and then again, like liminal spaces, transitions, things like that that we talked about already. It would also be really good for like menstrual rituals. Now, I do not like doing menstrual rituals because I feel absolutely terrible when I am menstruating, like
You know what? I don't even
hating
know
life.
very many people that don't. Everybody that I know is like, it's not very good. So it's
Yeah, I mean, I know a couple of people who really like working with it because they feel like even though they're not happy with how they're feeling, they feel like it's a time to like get in tune with their self more, which more power to you. But I am like miserable. And so I don't want to do anything except stay in bed. But if you are up to doing workings, then this would be a great herb or like plant to include with that for sure.
nice.
So churn bag, mojo bag, like we talked about, bath, which we've talked about before. You know, I love my bath. So you can make like an infusion or a decoction and then just pour it straight into the bath water, or you can put some of the chips, like the bark, in a bag. We talked about this a couple of videos, I think, where we talked about like you can buy like extra large disposable tea bags and like put it in there. You can make like a cheesecloth bag, whatever.
Milk
Um,
mat bag.
yeah, anything like that. But in your bath is going to be really good. In like a jar or an amulet for protection. And then also writing. Historically, the berries have been used to make like this really dark crimson ink, natural ink. So we've talked about inks a couple times just in passing, I think. But um, yeah, like making inks with the berries would be really good. And then also, even if you're just like wanting to hold it while you're like meditating or visualizing or something like that. So, I think that was it. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. So very protective, but in a way that I think like isn't really thought about a lot. A lot of times when we think protection, we think like I don't know, like putting a wall up or something. And protection in my mind is almost like a automatically kind of I envision like masculine energy, like
Yeah, like almost with like a
protection.
shield and a
Yeah.
sword and like yeah.
Yeah. But this is like I said, very like motherly, but like you will not hurt the ones that I love and like you will not hurt myself. Very like, yeah, mama bear protection. It reminds me of the mama bear like card that you have. Like very like fierce, like I will protect my home and my space and those that I care about, including myself. So,
Nice.
that is cramp bark.
I love that.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for that. That's amazing.
Mhm.
And I love like the distinction and like how it's very
Mhm.
specifically feminine. That's like amazing. I love that.
Yeah,
The whole thing
so
is
good.
real. So definitely get yourself some of that Grant bark. And
Yeah.
that's that. We will see you at the next Ditch Witch Diaries.